Making good investment decisions isn't just about looking at the data. It's about interpreting the data correctly. What is it really telling us? Oftentimes, very smart people can interpret the exact same information radically differently, but only one of them is closer to the truth. So when it comes to making intelligent decisions with our money, how can we increase our odds of being right? Welcome to Wealthion. I'm Wealthion founder Adam Taggart. So far on this new YouTube channel, we've been bringing you interviews with the world's top experts in money and the markets. And fortunately, it seems like that's been going pretty well so far. We've landed some truly amazing guests, and you guys have helped us grow from 0 subscribers to over 23,000 as of this recording. That's pretty impressive for a channel that didn't exist more than a month ago. Just to give you a heads up, this video isn't an interview. It's just a short bit of perspective I think will be useful to you, as well as a heads up about Wealthion's upcoming conference on June 5th, which already has a pretty amazing lineup, by the way. I'm going to start by sharing a quick story with you, one that has really impacted how I see the world. Back during World War II, the US Navy was concerned about the rate at which its airplanes were being shot down during combat. It put together a group of engineers and scientists to analyze the situation and come up with a plan to increase the aircraft survival rate. They wisely decided to look at the bullet hole patterns on all planes returning from their missions. The plot of bullet holes looked like this, and looking at this data, the analysts concluded that to protect the planes better, the wingtips, central body, and tail elevators should be armored up. But just before the new retrofitting got underway, a statistician named Abraham Wald said, "Wait, we've got it all wrong. We should be doing the exact opposite." "What do you mean?" the engineers asked. "We're adding more protection to the exact places where these planes are getting shot most." "Well, that's just it," said Wald. "The planes you're looking at are the survivors. The bullet holes you're looking at are showing us all the places a plane can be shot and still return to base. We need to armor up the areas where we're not seeing bullet holes, like the cockpit, the engines, and the mid-tail section where the fuel was. The planes getting hit there don't make it back home." Abraham Wald's armor modifications were quickly implemented by both the Navy and Air Force and continued to be used throughout America's later wars in Korea and Vietnam. I love this story, which is 100% true. You can Google it if you want to find out more, because it reveals how information alone is not enough for good decision making. You need to interpret it correctly, which is often much easier said than done. And of course, you then need to take appropriate action based upon that interpretation. So why is this all relevant? Well, the main reason I founded Wealthion is to help people just like you protect their financial wealth from harm, in very much the same way the Navy wanted to protect its pilots, flight crews, and planes. We are living in one of the most confusing and, I think, riskiest times in history for investors. According to some, the unprecedented degree of liquidity issued by the world's central banks over the past decade have possibly created the largest asset price bubble in history. Yet there are others who say, this time's different, and it offers excellent returns to those smart and bold enough to seize the opportunity. Now, there are 2 recent events worth briefly talking about that further highlight the cognitive dissonance faced by those of us trying to make sense of today's markets. Last week, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, told the world that the Fed remains unworried about inflation. The consumer price index remains below the Fed's 2% target, and he expects any near-term rise in inflation to be, quote, temporary. But over the weekend, world-renowned investor Warren Buffett held the annual meeting for his company, Berkshire Hathaway, at which he went out of his way to warn that inflation is becoming a real issue in the economy as a direct result of the trillions in new currency added to the money supply since the COVID pandemic hit. Buffett said that he and his team are seeing substantial inflation across many of Berkshire's businesses.
People have money in their pocket and they pay the higher prices, and when carpet prices go up in a month or two, we announced a price increase for April. For our costs are going up. Supply chains all screwed up, for all kinds of people. But it's almost a buying frenzy. I mean, we're raising prices. People are raising prices to us. it's being accepted.
The inflation caused by the recent $6+ trillion in monetary and fiscal stimulus is either going to or not going to have a material impact on asset prices, market stability, and the cost of living. Who's got a more accurate beat on reality, Jerome Powell or Warren Buffett? Your answer to this question will yield vastly different strategies for how to invest your portfolio right now. Interestingly, the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting gave us another good example of data that intelligent people can disagree wildly about. Buffett's longtime partner, Charlie Munger, was asked his opinion of Bitcoin's recent extreme price appreciation. Munger didn't mince his words.
Of course, I hate the Bitcoin success. And I don't welcome a currency that's so useful and to kidnappers and extortionists and so forth. Nor do I like just shuffling out a few extra billions and billions and billions of dollars to somebody who just invented a new financial product out of thin air. So I think I should say modestly that I think the whole damn development is disgusting and contrary to the interests of civilization. And I'll leave the criticism to others.
Unsurprisingly, this triggered an avalanche of rebuttals from proponents of cryptocurrencies, including notable hedge funder Dan Loeb of Third Point, who responded that Bitcoin's meteoric recent rise is a well-deserved result of millions more people and an increasing number of large companies and institutions flooding billions of dollars worth of capital into the most established crypto platform on the market. Loeb clearly anticipates that Bitcoin can sustain even higher prices ahead. Again, who's right? You will adopt opposing investment strategies based on whomever you think here. What's going to happen next is the question I hear most often from viewers like you. And how can the prudent investor navigate this environment without putting their hard-earned capital at unacceptable risk? Look, I don't pretend to have the answers. I'm really just like you, somebody who doesn't want to become collateral damage during a crash if the market is indeed dangerously overvalued. Somebody who would like to grow their wealth over time, but prudently, and without taking on too much risk. Now, the advantage I do have, which I'm sharing with you through this new Wealthion venture, is access. Access to many of the world's best thinkers, money managers, and analysts across the disciplines of investing, economics, and personal finance. Think of them as a brain trust of Abraham Wald's, expert minds to whom we can ask the tough questions, hear their answers, compare where they agree and disagree, and dig further where necessary. And in the end, we will all need to make our own final interpretations of the data ourselves. But illuminated by the insights of these great thinkers, our probability of zeroing in on the truth should be much higher than groping around in the dark on our own. So that's my commitment to you, that week in and week out, I'll be providing you with access to highly informed experts on the money-related topics that you care about. I'll do my utmost to ask the questions you most want answered and to dig for insights that you can put into action in your own life with your own money. And that provides a great segue into talking quickly about Wealthion's upcoming conference on June 5th. As I said earlier, we've recruited an amazing lineup for it. We'll have Lacey Hunt, a highly respected analyst who spent decades correctly predicting the inflation-deflation outlook. He'll share his predictions for which force he sees winning out over the rest of the year. We've got Grant Williams and Stephanie Pomboy, two of the best macro analysts in the business. If you've watched any of my previous videos with them, you'll know it's a coup to get them both together at the same event. David Hunter will join us. In my interview with him earlier this year, he correctly predicted the ongoing melt-up in the S&P. Now, he also predicted a massive market crash of 65 to 80% is going to happen after that, like around summer. And he'll inform us whether he still sees that in the cards. Lynn Alden will tackle the future of cryptocurrencies, as well as the US petrodollar. Award-winning investigative journalist Matt Taibbi of Rolling Stone fame will talk about the problem of media control and how it's suppressing key insights and voices we need badly right now. Mike Maloney will give his latest outlook on the precious metals. And several other speakers on topics like farmland, real estate investing, and a few others are lined up too. It's going to be an insight-packed day of high value for anyone looking to where the macro puck is headed and trying to intelligently figure out how to position their investments and their money in advance. To register for this event and get the early bird price discount of just $99, go to wealthion.com/conference. And don't worry if you can't watch the event live on June 5th, which is a Saturday. We're recording all of the discussions and we'll send replay videos of all of the speakers to everybody who registers for the event after it's over. So go register now for the event at wealthion.com/conference, and I'll see you back here in just a day or two with our next interview. We've got 2 big ones lined up this week. Thanks for watching.